Hello, folks. This is your ticker guy coming at you with your podcast for the 8th. We're going to do a potpourri of things today because, well, just there's so much to talk about. And since these are quick hits, we're going to kind of touch on a bunch of them. First up is all the spooks that are running around with their hair on fire. Some of them on CNN saying, oh, well, we just did what Barry Obama told us to do. Wait, what? Oh, you just did what Barack Obama told you to do? Did that involve spying on a presidential election campaign? Did that involve violating U.S. and foreign laws? Did it involve doing it in countries that have treaties with the United States for cooperation, prosecution? That would be the Ukraine, by the way. Incidentally, that the president told you to do it is not an excuse. Richard Nixon got in a little bit of trouble for trying to cover up Watergate. And I do seem to recall that during World War II, there were an awful lot of guards at places like Auschwitz that said, well, I was just doing what the Fuhrer told me to do. Didn't help, they got hung anyway. And you should expect to get hung if you're one of those people. Hello, Brennan. Hello, Clapper. Hello, a whole bunch of other related people. Hello, so-called Weaselblowers. There's a good name. Why don't we dub these guys Weaselblowers? Yeah, because that's kind of what they are, is weasels. And it's about time that they got forced out into the open. And if culpability really does run up all the way to President Obama, and I believe it does, yeah, I mean, just look at the Biden record, okay? I mean, he's bragging about interfering in Ukrainian political affairs and judicial affairs. Then we ought to hang Obama, too. It's about time that people were held accountable for their crimes. And, oh, by the way, the principle is you cannot criminally charge a president while he's in office. Well, guess what? Barry ain't in office no more. So how about we give him a little diversity and shove his butt in prison where it belongs? All right. End of screed on that. Next up is the NBA and China. Oh, what a demonstration of diversity we've had from the National Basketball Association. National, folks, national, as in United States, nation. Not the Chinese Basketball Association. Or is it the Chinese Basketball Association? The NBA throws one of its teams and representatives under the bus because they dare to say, oh, I think that what's going on over in Hong Kong, free speech is an important principle. Oh, no, we can't have that. Oh, my God, those nasty Chinese are going to boycott us. Oh, my God, they're going to boycott us. They're not going to have their forced labor to make our T-shirts and our shoes anymore. Nike is going to kill us. Oh, the humanity. Uh-huh. All right, folks, so you go to basketball games, you watch basketball on TV, you buy products that are advertised during such games. Time for America to strike back. Fuck you, NBA. Fuck all of you. If free speech is not to be protected and preserved and honored, then you can all go suck my you-know-what. Because there is nothing left if we give up on that principle. Nothing whatsoever. And at its core, this Hong Kong demonstration stuff is about not just free expression, but about the abject fraud that the Chinese government has run across the world with its so-called one country, two systems bullshit. And the idea that we have, we are an open society. We are so progressive. Yeah, okay. Talk to the riggers about that. And oh, by the way, about that that split currency system you have there, your two versions of your currency. Yeah, why don't you dump that too? And instantly, the Chinese currency, renminbi, yuan, whatever you want to call it, goes in the shitter and is worth less than half of what it is worth today on the international stage. Shortly followed by starvation, riots, political unrest, and civil unrest. And I would guess that within the space of a few months, President Xi gets hung from a lamppost somewhere. Yes, they would try to shoot everybody, but unfortunately for them, there's a billion of them and, a hell of a lot of Chinese military. Don't get me wrong, but the odds are not in their favor, especially when the means of production all of a sudden stop. The Soviet Union tried crazy levels of repression. They threw people in Siberian jails and said, no do for you. Mr. Ivan, come here, he jackbooted thug, he throw you in jail. All right, yeah, that didn't work out so good for them, because eventually what ended up happening was the baker realized that he didn't actually have to go to work and bake bread in order to get a loaf. All right, and as a result, there was no bread. And so you were all entitled to this, that, and the other thing, but it's the old saw, as I've brought up many times on this podcast and in writing. I'll pretend to work, you'll pretend to pay me. That's the problem with communism when you get down to it. It only works as long as you can maintain people under slavery, and they don't all collectively realize that the communist ideals sound fantastic right up until the people realize that they really don't have to work. And then the economy starts to go in the shitter. And what China has done to try to offset this is produce all kinds of fake stuff. So they have all these buildings that go up, all these cities, and there's nobody living in them. They have all kinds of so-called investment that really isn't investment, it's theft. They have people over here in the United States who are here as Chinese nationals, supposedly to learn things in our universities, and their real purpose is to steal everything that isn't nailed down. We have the same thing going on with so-called H-1B visa holders and others that come over here into the United States that supposedly are here to work and produce, and what they're really doing is stealing. And the problem is, it's very difficult to know who is and isn't in that box. All right, let's now turn our attention for the last little bit of this thing to Facebook, which, by the way, I wrote a ticker on this morning. There have been rumors floating around for a long time that Facebook exists primarily as a State Department asset and as a security forces, AE, FBI, CIA, etc., asset, and that it gets a great deal of money under the table. These are supposedly conspiracy theories, because they allow this kind of thing, and they get all this surveillance data, which is very, very useful to governments everywhere, including ours. Oh, yeah, we're so much better than those jackbooted Chinese, right? Well, now it comes out that the FBI has been running ads on Facebook attempting to solicit spies against Russia. Now, against China, this would actually not be a violation of Facebook's terms of service, because Facebook is banned in China, and Facebook's terms of service say that you won't do anything that is inauthentic, and inauthentic, of course, can only apply to those places where they actually are accessible. You also can't violate the laws in any of the jurisdictions where they operate. Well, guess what? Facebook's not banned in Russia. So, why is it that the FBI is allowed to run advertisements for spies, which Facebook approved, to spy in Russia and against Russian assets? Now, wait a minute. That's inauthentic behavior, is it not? Isn't spying on a foreign country inauthentic? Obviously, it's inauthentic. Duh. It's also illegal in the country that you're spying against if you get caught. The penalties for that range all the way up to having your head chopped off, which is, that's the way it goes. Spying is one of those things. It's gone on since time immemorial. It's not a new thing. However, it is illegal in every single case in the country being targeted. And yet Facebook allows these ads to go on. So what do we have here? We have some validation of the fact that Facebook doesn't give a flying blankety blank blank as long as the inauthentic and illegal behavior is taking place at the behest of and the payment of a government. Well, how much more money have they been paid? And oh, by the way, why are you still on this clown face network and all of that's going on with this? And for all of the protesting that was going on with regards to, from, by the way, the DOJ and the FBI about Facebook encrypting their messenger app. And oh, no, Facebook says, we will not put a back door in for you governments. Do you really believe them? Or do you believe that, oh, no, well, we'll just leak those keys to the FBI anytime they really want it. It will make sure that they can recover the PFS sessions if necessary because, we'll checkpoint things. We'll do things with our protocol that we otherwise would not do. And since this is all closed source and it is their application, they can do that kind of thing, can't they? And it would be very hard to catch them. Now, wouldn't it be a shame if somebody was to wait until this supposed encryption was put in place and then look and see whether or not there was anything obvious about that? I don't think that Zuckerpig would be stupid enough to leave any obvious hints like, for example, checkpointing that would allow PFS security to be broken. But you never know, maybe. Maybe that checkpointing will be done somewhere on their servers because all that traffic does have to go through their machines. But I think there is a very high probability that the answer to will there be a backdoor available in Messenger, the answer is yes. You're just going to be told no. And by the way, that will be handed out at least to the DOJ and the FBI, and they will not need a warrant to get to it, regardless of their protests. There'll be no such thing as so-called lawful interception. They'll just intercept whatever the hell they want, and so will Quantico and all of the other NSA spooks. If you are dumb enough to believe, after you see the fact, reported as fact, that the FBI ran blatantly illegal ads under Facebook's policies. Well, okay, not illegal. In violation of Facebook's terms of service. All right, which say you cannot engage in inauthentic behavior, nor can you solicit a criminal act. And yet, the FBI is still allowed to have an account on Facebook. It is still allowed to do that. Nobody has gone to jail. Nobody has had their account thrown off. Then you can take every single representation that Zuckerpig makes from that point forward, and you can bin it because it's all bullshit. I'm your ticker guy, and that's my view.